Hello and welcome to this week's Whole Week Costa. For Kev, I'm Jay. Today we're going to be talking about the first two episodes in Season 3, Clone Cadets and ARC Troopers. Kev, you want to start us off with Clone Cadets?
Yeah, 5 headstrong clones struggle to complete their training on Camino. These cadets, Hevy, Cutup, Droidbait, Fives, and Echo, seem to be a bad batch and are unable to work as a team. As Shock T and drill instructors Brick and LS debate the cadets' fate, the clones learn to work together and accept their destiny as soldiers. So, okay.
Considering this show is called The Clone Wars, I really like these first two episodes. They, really focus on clones and clone training.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, I guess they are sort of what we're here for, right? I kind of feel like this is a weird way to start a season. I did like these episodes, but I don't know. I feel like if we'd watched these in real time, like we waited, say you watch season 2, and then you waited however long, 6 months or a year or whatever between the seasons, and you're like, oh, okay, season 3 is going to start. It's going to be awesome. And then it's like, okay, we're doing training stuff for these clones that we have met before, but 2 of them just died unceremoniously like a season and a half ago.
Yeah. Well, this is a prequel to the episode from season 1 called Rookies, the 5th episode. So
that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, because
I still a little out of order. But one thing I did notice about season 3 is the animation seems a lot better.
So I do think it is. I have thoughts on that on the lightsaber battles that happened in the 2nd episode this week, though, about the animation. Right. Sorry, I'm looking back at Rookies now. Was that on the Rishi Moon? Is that one, or is that a different episode?
Yeah, that was the one on Rishi Moon.
Okay, so it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember really liking that episode, and I feel like that gave us a pretty good, such an early episode, gave us a pretty good early introduction to the clones. But now, yeah, it's a little bit jarring, I guess, to go back and say, okay, well, now we get the backstory of these clones that died like the entire series ago. 2 of them did. I mean, the one was eaten by a giant worm, right? So that wasn't even at least Hevy sacrificed himself. So, and they mentioned it in, I think, the 2nd episode that we watched this week. But Cutup, I think it was, just, got eaten by a worm. Droidbait, I totally forgot existed. I'm looking Droidbait up now.
But I did like 99. I thought he was a really good character.
I thought he was a really good character. I didn't love what they did with him. I don't know. You sort of had they tried to put this progression of this Domino Squad in this episode where they went from zeros to heroes, and I don't know. The concept was good. It just seemed really rushed. It was the one guy gets punched by the instructor and told he's a loser, and the other guy gets. Well, and he didn't even seem to take it to heart. He's I'm cut up. He was basically like, "Oh, thanks for my name," and then he laughs about it. So I don't see how that changed him. He got his name, but he didn't. I don't see what fundamentally changed in him by that confrontation. And then Hevy gets a little bit more of a heartfelt talk from 99, but he still doesn't seem to get it at the moment. I just don't. Nothing happened that to me would have so drastically changed their performance.
Yeah, I really do think it shows that some of the clone troopers actually have to be cleaning crew and maintenance crew, because if you watch the prequel movies, you have Finn, who it was his first battle where he gets his friends blood wiped all over his face. And then, it's they're like, well, what did you do before this? He's like, I was in sanitation, or I was a janitor or something like that. So even those troopers have to have some sort of roles like that. So I mean, some clone troopers just aren't going to make it.
That's true. I think it's a little bit different then because in the First Order, you don't have clones anymore. You're just like kidnapping children, much like the Jedi do. So you're going to have a little bit more variability. Here, I mean, theoretically, the vast majority, and I guess 99 says like, oh, most clones pass. Like, it should be like almost all clones should pass because they're all genetically equivalent. Like, there's going to be a little bit of variability. Like the beta should be real low. Like the variability should be real low. So most of them should pass. And most of them should be, even if they have a little bit different personalities, should have pretty similar skill sets and be able to handle similar things.
Yeah. But like, actually, if I wanted to make a point there, but we kind of have to talk about rookies for me to make my point.
Do you want to recap rookies real fast?
Yeah, let's do a recap on rookies.
So basically, it was a moon near Camino was being attacked. So it was like a similar situation where they were defending their home a little bit, and then this.
I meant troopers. The next episode. My bad.
Oh! You mean to talk about ARC troopers? They talk about rookies. You mean?
No. To talk about my next point about like how the clones aren't passing, I would like to start on ARC troopers.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Here, let me read the thing. The Republic learns of an impending separatist attack on Camino. Anakin and Obi-Wan hurry to the planet. After the Republic repulses the separatist diversionary assault, the real attack begins. Asajj Ventress, General Grievous, and an army of droids rise out of the oceans, bent on destroying Camino's clone production facilities. Rex, Cody, Fives, and Echo lead the clones in a desperate defense of their home planet.
What we kind of learn in this episode, and we learn in other episodes, that they mention that because since Mace Windu has killed Jango Fett, they have to keep stretching the cloning materials. So the clones aren't as good as they originally were. They're just getting like kind of worse and worse. They're like, C and D grade versions of the original clones. And I think that's one of the main points of why these clones aren't passing, because they're not as good as the original clones because they don't have the original genetic material.
So they do talk about that in the episode, but I think that raises so many questions. So I think it's weird that they're at the point where they have this, amazing cloning ability, but yet can make the DNA from scratch. They need the physical DNA instead of just having like the DNA sequence and being able to construct it. Because like I think we're close to that, like in our world, right? And like we suck at cloning, so I think that's weird that like just science wise that they can't just take base pairs and just make this DNA themselves, and they need Jango Fett. So. But does that also mean that the reason why Jango Fett was hanging on Camino was because they just like what do they have to do? Like, did he have to give semen samples all day? Like, is that what he did? Or did they draw his blood like constantly?
Yeah. So you've heard the theory about memories, right? About how memories, like when you remember something, you're remembering your last memory of it.
Yeah. I know what you mean. You can have sort of false memories and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like that. Like they keep replicating this, but they replicate the last replication of the genes. So it's not as strong, as powerful as the last one. So it's like every time they do it, they're missing something. I think that's what they're trying to get at. Like, they're not replicating the original strand of genetic information. They're replicating the last replication of it.
I guess, yeah. I don't know why I'm having more trouble suspending disbelief here, because like I feel like if you think about like the Warhammer world, like that's one of the things there is they take like the Primarch DNA and they make soldiers out of it, and it's like a little bit of a similar thing, and it's a pretty common theme in there that that source material gets like corrupted and stuff. But I feel like that's because it's like that's more like future fantasy, sort of realm. Like I feel like Star Wars, at least in this regard, at least as far as the prequels go, tries to be more science fiction, where there's like a plausible explanation for some things. I guess other parts. Well, I was saying, I guess other parts of Star Wars are very future fantasy, but I feel like these parts they try to make real sciencey, and then they have where they just can't. I don't know where the seed gets corrupted. Like, just seems.
I think it's just like, I think it's more along the lines like, like I'm just pulling terms out of the air. Like if they explained it, if the show wasn't made for children, they'd be like, oh, without the original things, our amino acids, degrade over time. So, the genetic information isn't as strong, something like that.
But like Kamino's shit cloners. There's better cloners out there. The Republic got ripped off.
Actually, Kamino's known for their cloning.
Well, that's what I mean. But obviously, I mean they can't make the base pairs from scratch.
Yeah, and that's why they hired other bounty hunters. But I guess like they just used the bounty hunters to, from the first episode we were talking about clone cadets. They talk about how they hired new bounty hunters to like get the right material, but these bounty hunters aren't like the perfect mix of intelligence and cunning and fighting and everything that Django was. So they just hired the bounty hunters to train the clones.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was funny in the ARC Troopers one when this is like totally unrelated to that, but it made me think of in the ARC Troopers when they're defending the base, and then sorry, I lost the Jedi's name. Shaak Ti comes out and like fights off the clones. I just in my head I pictured like this was like in MasterChef, like if like Gordon Ramsay had to come out and like cook to save his life suddenly. like they were the three experts, and now they have to defend the base.
Yeah. I thought that. I mean, both episodes were pretty good, and you kind of see like the first episode, you watch these 5 guys and then train, and then 2 guys come back and they kind of yada like a whole year in the war. Like, oh, these guys died. Sorry. And then you're like, oh, wait, 99's still alive? Like, he degraded to an old man. And then like a year later, these guys come back and he's like, I know everything about this place.
Yeah, I was wondering how old he is. Like if he aged differently, or I kind of like they. I mean, they didn't really explain it, but it was like subtle. Where he said he never got his chance. He must have just been born deformed like that. So you wonder if that's, even though he looks old, if he really is old or not, or if that's just part of his deformity.
Yeah, I mean, he can't be more than 3 because the Clone Wars only lasted 3 years.
Well, I guess they were making clones before that, though, right? I think in the prequel movies, they mentioned that the order was put in like so many years before. But yeah, I forget what the aging process was for clones, honestly. I felt like in the ARC Troopers episode, they sort of they mentioned, or I feel like the part where like Ventress and Grievous are arguing, I thought was supposed to like parallel when the clone troopers are arguing in the first episode. Like obviously things were going to fail because they couldn't get along and they couldn't follow orders, and they each thought that they were in charge when they weren't. I thought Ventress kissing that soldier was so weird. I don't know.
She kisses him and then stabs him with a lightsaber. So
she stabs him and then kisses him.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That made me uncomfortable. I mean, it's just a creepy thing, and I guess she's supposed to be creepy, but then I felt like, I don't know. I feel like it was one of those like problems with Star Wars and women sort of things. Like, I don't know. Like the fact that she's so hypersexualized, like, I feel like makes me a little uncomfortable. I don't really know why, because I feel like, I don't know. I guess I really haven't seen anyone else that's like hypersexualized and really much in Star Wars, definitely in the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Well, that scene where she impales a guy and then kisses him was cut from the Cartoon Network run.
For once, I'm on censorship side. That scene was weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, you see it in movies all the time. You got this badass female warrior who's like, I don't know, uses her femaleness, and
And
I
then
guess it's called.
I guess yeah, but then like it's like weird. Like she doesn't even use it much. Like they keep pointing it out, but it's not like she's like um what's I can't think of her name from the Avengers. Scarlett
Black
Johansson.
Widow?
Black Widow. Yeah, it's not like she's like that where she is seductive and then distracts men with it's like a tool on her tool belt. Like she distracts men with that and then she kills them. Like she's just like inappropriately aggressively sexual and at times for no reason. Like it doesn't seem to help her in battle at all. So it's just she just has this high sex drive or something. Like it has nothing to do with her fighting. Like I don't know.
I think this boils down to a common theme we see in the Star Wars universe is that almost no one has a normal relationship.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's like a male writing female character sort of thing. I don't know. I didn't think I would be on this side of the argument, but it looks like I am in this one case.
Yeah, just think about the relationships we've seen in any of the Star Wars. Like, she was kidnapped, brought up a slave fighter, and now she's just kissing man after impaling them. So, I don't think she knows what love is.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one, and maybe this is explored like in the extended universe or somewhere else. I mean, it could be that she, there's something in her background where she was abused or something, and now she's like hypersexualized. Like it could be like a really deep story, but we're not seeing that. And I feel like that was the problem. I feel like that was my issue with both of these episodes. I feel like there was a lot of really good material and good ideas here, and it was just like really rushed. Like I don't know if maybe that first episode should have been multiple episodes, and we could have seen like had more time for progression. If we had seen 99 previously instead of him just being like this like Rudy sort of character, where it's just like, oh, he couldn't do it, oh, but now he can do it, oh, but he's so inspirational. Like I don't know, like he's like there's just a really good story in there, but they kind of rushed through it. But then I also kind of feel like starting a season with like 3 or 4 training episodes to like really flesh it out, that might have got boring too. So if you're going to tell this story, I don't think this was the worst way to tell it, but it wasn't the best way to tell it either.
Yeah. So that's all I really have to say about these 2 episodes. I mean, I like them. They focused on clones. The show's called Clone Wars, so hopefully next week we get back to more of the warring part.
Yeah, I feel like these were just not. I feel like their location just doesn't fit. I feel like if they happened after like the Geonosis episodes, like if they happened like, well, I guess if they happened after episodes where we just saw these clones, like a big like main story arc episode where we saw these clones, that might have made a little bit of a difference. But also if it just came after like a really exciting multi-part series where then it was like, okay, now we need a breather for like an episode or 2. I felt like these would have been really good, but I feel like it was just a weird choice to start the season. I think that's what threw me the most.
So I got some bad news for you. Next week, the first episode we're going to talk about is Supply Lines, and that is a prequel to the first episode we watch.
Supply Lines,
the whole series.
It's a real dry. They talk about logistics. There's like, oh, we need like 35,000 rations to Camino, and we need like that's all episode.
No, the first episode of the series where we watch Yoda beat up people.
That was a good episode. Yeah, and this one, yeah, I guess, I mean, I feel like I don't have much to say about it, but I guess my last thoughts are, think about, we have another, Grievous Obi-Wan. I think this is the weakest Obi-Wan Grievous meeting too. I mean, they literally, he he beats up Kenobi, then Kenobi force pushes him, and then he runs away, and then he runs
He
away.
runs scatters on his 4 feet or whatever they are.
Yeah, because they got pushed once, and then I mean he does escape in a ship, but I didn't get the sense that was his plan initially. He was just trying to distract him, and then was going to run away and escape in the ship. I kind of felt like he wanted to fight him, but then he didn't. So I don't know. This is also the weakest. I don't know. I feel like I'd like to rank these at some point. Maybe when we're done the series, rank the Obi-Wan Kenobi General Grievous meetings. This I have to imagine this is going to be at the bottom of the list, though.
Oh, absolutely. So, all right, for Kev, I'm Jay. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Whole Week Costa. You can check us out on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, our Libsyn page, and YouTube. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.